You said if there's no enforcement, how can there be a right? So I believe in the case of a child who is aborted, right? The right that they had to life, I believe, exists intrinsically, but it was not enforced, and thus they were aborted, right? I believe that is, I'm not, I know this isn't about moral claims, but I mean, descriptively, their right was violated because it existed and it was not enforced.
What is a right to you?
So it's an unmerited, how do I put it, entitlement of an individual.
Okay, so a right to you is an unmerited entitlement. So it's an entitlement absent duty. That's what it is, right? To you?
Yes.
Okay. And if it's an entitlement absent duty, where does this entitlement come from?
God and the precepts of the natural law.
Okay, so this entitlement comes from God and the precepts of natural law. And where in biblical scriptures does it say that we have a right?
It doesn't say it, but I'm not sola scriptura. I believe the Christian tradition is not confined to the scriptures.
Great. Where in, tradition that does it say that we have this entitlement absent duty?
The entire the entire Western philosophical tradition, the entire ethical tradition of the Western Church for 2,000 years.
Where?
To the present day.
Give me a name of someone that speaks about this entitlement absent duty.
Bonaventure, St. Thomas Aquinas, St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, they speak about entitlements absent duty.
Yeah, Aristotelian metaethics.
Okay.
In the ethical framework of natural law would be a great reading point for you.
And that's fine. This entitlement absent duty, how does the child have this right to life, which is an entitlement absent duty, if the child, for it to come to life, depends on the mother?
Oh, no. I misunderstood what you meant by duty. Yeah, duties exist for sure, but they don't have to be enforced for the right to be real, is what I'm trying to say. So I misunderstood.
That doesn't make any sense then. So if it's the case that a duty does not have to, action, a duty is an action, right? There's no action that comes into place for the right to be real, then it is an entitlement absent duty.
So let me answer that.
Sure, go ahead.
The right of the child exists whether or not the mother fulfills their duty of bringing the child to term and taking care of them. So when the mother does not do that and gets an abortion, they take away the right to life of the child.
But where does this right come from?
God and the natural law, the precepts of the natural law, number one.
Okay, so God. Okay, where? I'm asking you, where does people say that a right equals an entitlement absent duty in any Christian tradition or anything like that?
I've already
bring it up for me. Give me a link that's actually the meaning of what a right is.
All right, so you can go to the Summa Theologica, which is the corpus of, it's the biggest writing in the corpus of St. Thomas Aquinas.
Okay, got it.
And you can look at
what am I looking at?
Different
I'm going to look it
precepts
up.
of the natural law. Oh, dude, you want to look up the Summa right now? Yeah, you can do it.
Okay. I'm looking at it right now.
There's a good website called Aquinas.cc. It has it in a better format if that's better for you.
All right. And where is it I see nothing about rights being a privilege absent duty.
So you can go to the precepts of the natural law. It's
I'm on it now. I'm literally looking up at Thomas Aquinas, the precepts of the natural law. You have core precepts. You have human reason, you have universal human nature, you have eternal law, you have theology, you have all of these things here, and within all, and then you have the primary precepts, which is preserve life. You have
that's where you got it right there.
Okay, so protecting and sustaining innocent human life.
Correct.
Okay, so protecting. How can you do protecting without any duty?
I already conceded duties exist, but the right exists absent of the duty insofar as
when
the duty is not fulfilled.
No. You're wrong now. See, look. You have this weird way, even when you came up, you have a weird way when you're speaking and you're saying words, you like equivocate on the meaning of certain words now. So when I first asked you about a right, you said it's an entitlement absent duty. Then you said that you went back on it. Now you're saying that, well, this right can still exist without any duty. But then I go ahead and look up exactly what you told me to look up, Thomas Aquinas, and we're speaking about precepts and the core presuppositions and the primary precepts. One of them, when we're speaking about life, it says reproduce, which is, preserve life is speaking about protecting. Well, you protecting something, you need action. This will be a duty. It's speaking about sustaining. This would be upholding. This would be duties of innocent life. So a right under your definition has nothing to do with an entitlement. It has everything to do with a duty. This is what I'm trying to tell you, that you don't know what you're speaking about. You came up here trying to talk to me, talking about, I disagree with you about the whole rights thing. The direction you pointed proved your point incorrect and my point right. In Christian ethics, stop it. In Christian ethics, you need to do some homework and think about the things before you come up and speak. In Christian ethics, there aren't any rights of a privilege absent a duty. There's only duties. There's no freaking privileges. There's a duty. How can you preserve any life without doing the duty of protecting and sustaining the innocent of human life? There's always duties. You're out of here. Freaking dork.
It isn't my position.
Read some more books, you knucklehead. Bro is just equivocating the entire time. Then he talks about, oh, well, I'm a Christian too, and in Christian ethics, bro. Yeah, bro, it's a privilege absent duty. Then he walks it back. He says, well, there's a privilege and a duty, but the duty comes after the right itself. Where's the privilege come in? And this is the thing, chat. I don't think I know everything, right? I actually don't believe that I know everything. So I'm always in a position to learn, which means that I'm in a position to refute someone else. Because I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Well, I mean, during my studies and my research, and then in Christian ethics, especially when we look in biblical scriptures, there's no rights. There's only duties. Then he brings up, well, Thomas Aquinas and, maybe some church tradition. Well, I'm not an expert in all church tradition and church history, so I'm going to go ahead and say, all right, well, let's see if this is true. Then we look it up. And the core principle is duties, no privileges, only duties. Homie got cooked bad, bro.
Yeah, so the crux of my argument last time was that I believe rights are intrinsic. I attributed this to the Western Christian ethical tradition. I think I overextended what I could actually say. Like, it's a oversimplification. So I don't want to slander the Western tradition by saying that they believed in intrinsic rights. But I'm going to attribute most of what I believe to Francisco Suarez. Okay, he's a Jesuit theologian from the 17th century. Okay, we believe that according to the principles of the natural law, humans have duties. The first of which is to preserve life, especially innocent life. But this duty exists hand in hand with the right of an individual to live, especially an innocent individual. So I'd say that since duties have this correlation to rights, rights have intrinsic value. Would you disagree with anything I've said?
No, I totally disagree with everything that you said. That's incoherent. It actually doesn't follow. You're making a jump to say that, well, since, rights, human, it's a duty, but then everyone has a right to life, and this would be intrinsic. Absent a duty, how is it intrinsic?
Can you clarify what you mean by absent a duty?
Absent duty, how is it intrinsic?
Could you clarify what you mean by absent
someone
duty?
Protecting life and sustaining life, how is it intrinsic?
Mm-hmm. Because regardless of whether or not the person fulfills their duty, the life has value and the right to be protected.
once again, it's circular. You're going back to a duty. So if you say that, well, rights are intrinsic and you're a Christian, right?
Correct.
And you say that, well, it's intrinsic, but it's also the intrinsic comes before the duty. The duty comes after the intrinsic. That's what you're saying, right?
No, I didn't say that. No.
Is okay. So if you're not saying that, then please elucidate your position for me and untangle how it's not just the duty and where does the intrinsic come from? Like, if you don't do a duty, then how do you have this right?
So, last thing I talked about was a child in the womb.
Yeah.
Whether or not the mother fulfills her duty of bringing that child to term, because I bet we're both pro-life, whether or not the mother does that, the child has the right. So the child who's aborted had a right that was not honored, which is why they were wronged in being killed.
What you just made something up. You're saying that the child in a womb, they have this, whether if not the mother brings the child full term or not and has the baby, right? The child in the womb has this right. I'm asking you, what is this right that you speak of absent a duty? You're not answering the question. You keep on just not saying anything.
I asked for the clarification on what you meant absent a duty before. I got the clarification. I applied it to what I said, and I don't think it's... So
I just repeated it back, and I just repeated back your sentences, and your sentences that you spoke still resorts back to a duty. So within Christianity, there's no rights in biblical scriptures, and I remember you now. The last time we spoke, it was on Tuesday, and we looked up Thomas Aquinas, and we looked up the precepts and the precepts, and it even stated that it's a duty. It's protecting life and sustaining life. So it says nothing about a right. So when we have words needs, these words that we utilize and we speak, it needs to mean something. So when you say right, I'm asking you, what is this right that you speak of absent a duty? So, okay, if a mother has a baby in her womb, right? It's her duty within Christian ethics to protect her baby and bring that baby full term. So it's her duty to protect. It's our duty, made in the image of God, to protect and sustain life. That's the duty. There's no right. There's nothing intrinsic about this imaginary thing that doesn't even make sense without a duty.
Let me respond to that. So I was wrong to bring up Aquinas. I was talking about the principles of the natural law. That's why I brought him up. He doesn't talk about rights. You're right to say that. He doesn't speak about that. That idea comes a little later.
All right.
I'll talk about what the idea is. Absent duty. We can talk about absent duty. It's about the dignity of the individual primarily. So the dignity of life that they possess by way of being created in the image of God, by way of being loved by God, by way of having in God's antecedent will a desire that they be saved. So for this reason, duties coincide with that, of course.
Wait. Never deny I'll repeat back what you said, right? So you said it's about the life, the value of the life, the dignity of the life. You're giving, you're basically putting all of these values attached to life. That's great. Yeah, I would agree that, life is very valuable, right? But there's no right to life. Okay, I got it. I'll say it a different way. So if it's the case that you believe that these things are just intrinsic, right? Yeah. Then we don't have any free will.
How so?
Because it means that things are just determined, right? You're taking more of a deterministic worldview where it's this is determined. No, God created us. If you're a true Christian, you know that God created us in his image, and he created us with free will, which means that we are the secondary cause. God created the heavens, the earth, the universe, everything, but then he created human beings in his image, and we are the secondary cause. So the things that we do on this earth is not God's doing, it's man's doing. But if there's something that's like intrinsic that we just have outside of our doing, that would be deterministic. Thus, you're making a deterministic position, which is antithetical to Christianity. What I'm telling you is, since we have free will, it's about the act of things, right? Like love. Like, well, how do you show love? Oh, I love you. It's just intrinsic, this love. No, you show love by acting, by doing a duty. I love you. I'm going to sacrifice my life for my family. I love you. I'm going to, show the act of love. So in Christianity, it's about faith and works. Faith in God, and the works come with your duties. Acting despite your circumstances or how you feel, you are going to do what's necessary to sustain and protect life.
So do you think that, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Do you think that humans act without being first moved by the providence of God? You think humans act by their own volition, completely, unmoved by God?
Yeah, bro. What? That's, again,
So,
if you don't think
example,
that that's true, is you're making a deterministic position for Christianity.
Let me ask you this. When somebody repents, for example, of a sin, or when they pray, are they moved
That's
by
a different
God
question.
to pray or to... It's let me show you how it's the same question.
Okay, go ahead.
In every act, especially a supernatural act like faith, like prayer, like divine love, is it your opinion that people are moved by grace first, by God, providentially, or did they act and then God responds?
Yeah. So again, that's a different question, right? And I'm going to explain how you're equivocating. I remember I spoke to you before and you did some equivocation the last time. You're attempting to do it again. So I got to point it out. So when you're talking about, do humans act like on their own will, or is it like God's, is God moving them? Right?
Yeah.
So God can move people to do his will. We see that in biblical scriptures all the time. He can do it. We see this with the Holy Spirit. We can be moved by the Holy Spirit. We can be moved by God, right? So that's one aspect of it. But when you're just speaking about our actions and our day-to-day behaviors, no, we have free will. So we have the ability to act on our own will and make our own choices. So you need to make a distinction out of those. I think you were putting them together, but there's a distinction.
I grant that humans have free will, of course. Let me get to the crux of.
Okay. Well, let's wheel you back in real quick. All right. Mm-hmm. So, prompt one is women don't deserve equal rights, and the part that you're debating within this and your argument, you're basically trying to say that rights are intrinsic within all humans, thus it's equal within men and women. I already refuted that.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get down to the actual debate. So the actual debate is about, rights themselves. In biblical scriptures, in Christian tradition, no such thing as rights. It's all about faith and works, faith and duties, right? That's it. Thus, when we speak about rights, this is a secular perspective. This is a secular idea. Right? These are things that non-Christians came up with. So a right in society and how, the secularists look at it is a privilege absent duty. It's an entitlement absent any duty. So you just have this entitlement. But where does this entitlement come from if you don't enforce anything? So basically, to sum it up, it's a social construct. Like the government, when they come up with these ideas, they come up with an idea, they agree on it, but then what actually makes that idea, the thing that they agree on, what makes that actually come to reality is going to be enforcement. There's going to be a collection of men enforcing the ideas that we have. So we both would agree that men are vastly stronger and more physically more capable than women, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we see men in a majority in the police force, men majority in the military. Men are the ones that put consequences on bad behavior. So when we have this idea, right, law, rule, anything like that, there's going to be always men to enforce this idea we have in our minds, which is rights equals force. Men have the monopoly on force. So men are the right givers. Thus, women are not the right givers because they have to appeal to men to get their rights. So it can never be equal. The only way it can be equal, my argument is that if women was capable to enforce rights for men and women, like for themselves and also for men, then rights themselves would be equal because a collection of women could be the right givers to men and women, and a collection of men could also be the right givers to men and women. But currently, and how it always will be, and also in the past throughout history, men have always been the right givers. We've created order in societies, not women.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first part of what you were saying, you said that.
I'm sorry, that was a lot there, but you can go ahead and respond.
No problem. I'll go little by little. To the first part of what you were saying, that it doesn't exist in Christian ethics, the concept of a right that is purely secular and was made by seculars. I've already pointed to you Francisco Suarez, who's a Jesuit theologian, 17th century or 17th or 16th century. Okay. Catholic, obviously not secular, who points to the idea of rights. Now, the secular idea of rights that you're going against,
what's his idea of rights?
I've spoken about it. It regards, first of all, human dignity, but let me keep speaking about it because I got shut down when I was speaking about it before. I didn't finish my point.
Okay, real quick, before you speak about it, real quick, I just want to do some housekeeping since you're the first one in, real quick. Again, we're currently live on YouTube, and I'm going to let you speak, so don't worry, bro. I'm going to give it back to you.
No problem.
We're currently live on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Kick. If anybody wants to come up, we got 3 prompts. You see it here on the screen. Women don't deserve rights. Prompt 1, prompt 2. Knowledge is impossible without God. So we're trying to get some of these atheists up, get some of these feminists up and stuff like that. So if you want to debate tonight via TikTok, just request to come on up. If you want to debate on YouTube, just click the link that's pinned in the YouTube comments and I'll bring you on up. But okay, man, I'll give you I give this conversation like 2 more minutes since this is like your second time being up. So go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, I'll try to tie it all in here.
Sure.
So we believe the belief of rights that are intrinsic or inherent, not absent duty. Duty still exists, but the idea of rights that come from God speaking is we believe in human dignity and what is due to a man. So the principles of justice and natural law. Okay, we believe something is due to a man because he deserves it. Right? By way of his dignity, by way of being made in the image of God, duties exist for a man because they deserve to be given to man. For example, a man who comes under the death penalty does not deserve this right to have his life preserved. But the man who's not under the death penalty because they have done nothing wrong deserves it. Well, why do they deserve it? There has to be something intrinsic about them in the way that they were made that creates the duty, right? Not that it comes before the duty, they go hand in hand. I wouldn't say that it comes before the duty. Why do duties exist is my question. Like, why would God give us duties if there wasn't things intrinsic about human beings that obligate them respect, that obligate them honor, that obligate them freedoms? Could you answer that?
Sure. So your question is, why would God give us duties if there wasn't anything basically valuable about humans?
No, not valuable. Intrinsic that we are obliged to, that we deserve.
Listen, it's about because we're made in the image of God. What don't you understand? It has nothing.
So do humans deserve something?
Like what?
Intrinsic, the right to life, for example. Do they intrinsically deserve the right to life?
Not everyone deserves the right to life. In biblical scriptures, not everyone deserves the right to life. So what I'm trying to tell you is you're incorrect. So we live in a fallen state, right? Correct. Everyone doesn't deserve a woman. Since the beginning of time, only 40% of males procreated, about 80 to 90% of women procreated. So men don't even deserve the right to procreate. You think that, obviously then that's excluding out almost half of the population of men to, leave their legacy behind and bring about life. And when we look at, life itself, like there's many biblical scriptures where God, it's a just killing. So no, God stopped life and took life. So this whole thing that's intrinsic of what you're speaking about, that we deserve this, no, that's just untrue because we're in a fallen state. Now, if we weren't in a fallen state, my friend, we'll be having a different conversation, okay? But listen, good talk, man. I'm going to go ahead and get some more people up, all right?
We'll disagree, but thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, man, have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
So if you like this video and want to watch more, click right here. But if you want to watch the full episode, click right here.